You're watching Taste the Victory.
Welcome back, guys. It's time to start Booster Set 13, the exciting new main set featuring support for the main characters of Digimon Data Squad with their Burst Mode Digimon. First up, we got MirageGaogamon, who is being really underrated right now because this dude is crazy. He focuses on punishing your opponent's hand size, forcing them to draw cards to get up to 8 or more, and then you gain effects based on every 4 cards they have in their hand or whether they have 8 or more. Sometimes you'll gain memory, sometimes you'll unsuspend to punish their security more. It's really fun and a pretty cool rewarding playstyle for the giant hand sizes that we have in this game, which we haven't interacted with too much before. And if you're looking to pick up any singles for this deck, I have a TCG player affiliate link in the description below that gives me a little kickback when you buy from it. I also have a Discord and merchandise in that same description box down below. Thanks. So let's go ahead and get right into the profile, looking at our top end to see what will support it. First up is MirageGaogamon. So MirageGaogamon, the main one we're going to be running is the one from Booster Set 11. This is 4 copies because it's really great in helping chip down your opponent's security. It is 4 memories to digivolve into, which is a lot, but we have ways to get around that with memory gain. When digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand. If no Digimon are returned by this effect, your opponent adds the top card of their security stack to their hand. So either way, you are benefiting off of that when digivolving, and you really don't hate either. Sometimes you'll actually prefer to not delete something because getting rid of the security helps towards you KOing them, and getting rid of something on the field helps stop them from setting up a board. So really great effect there. And then alternates once per turn, when effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. That is an amazing effect because that's going to let us go into this dude for like 2-to-1 most of the time, only 2-to-1 memory. That's crazy, in addition to be able to chip at your opponent's security safely because you're adding it to their hand, which means the effect doesn't activate. And that increases their hand size to then get more, memory gain based effects if you make them hit 8 or 12, etc., in their hand. So fantastic card that is important to be able to KO our opponents. And then the most important thing is the burst mode follow-up to that. Burst Mode is a new mechanic being introduced in this set, played off of the Digimon Data Squad season of the anime. It is 5 to digivolve from a blue level 6 normally, but with Burst Digivolution, it can evolve for 0 from MirageGaogamon by returning 1 Thomas in play to its owner's hand. At the end of the turn, trash the top card of this Digimon, meaning basically just trash the Burst Mode. When digivolving, return one of your opponent's Digimon to its owner's hand, then for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand, gain 1 memory. When attacking, if your opponent has 9 or more cards in their hand, by placing cards from your opponent's hand at the bottom of their owner's deck without looking until there are 8 cards left, unsuspend this Digimon. So if you go into this with a Burst Mode, you are not like paying any memory, so you're actually plussing off of this Digivolution, which is crazy right off the bat. But then you also have the opportunity to be able to unsuspend for game with that effect to trash cards from your opponent's hand. You're punishing their hand size, getting rid of important pieces they may need, and you're getting to chip away at their security or swing for game with the restand. Very aggressive playstyle there at the top end, so it's really cool to see that by punishing giant hand sizes that we see in this game. But we also have ways to force our opponent's hand size up in case they are not, like holding stuff in hand, so we won't be able to punish 8 or more. We could force them to get up to 8 or more. So let's go ahead and look through the card by card to see how exactly we're doing that. First up is our Digi-Egg or Digitomon line. Is Wanyamon, which in my opinion is currently the new best blue egg in the entire color. This thing is insane because it has the inheritable of when attacking once per turn, if you have a blue Tamer in play, draw 1. Before, the best generic egg was Upamon because it was very easy to trigger and get your draw off, but this is even easier. We have a deck that plays Tamers out for free that are really important to our playstyle, so it's incredibly easy for us to always have this draw live and we don't have to worry about our opponents turning it on for us. So instantly best egg. We're running 4 of that, and we just always want to see it to make sure we get those draws up, so that's why I'm only running 4 of that one and not a 5th egg. After that, we start our rookie lineup, of which we are running 12. First up is Gaomon, introduced in BT11. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Gaomon in its name, and 1 blue Tamer card among them to your hand, trash the rest. We love Tamer cards that grab us multiple things. Trash top 3 isn't the deepest it could search, we would prefer 4 to 5, but it's still very good to grab you your pieces that you are missing. Inheritable, when attacking once per turn, if you have a Tamer in play, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. Not only is this great floodgate removal to get rid of stuff like Gaogamon or Syakomons and whatever still out there, it also increases your opponent's hand size to trigger effects to play off of that, so very important rookie for this lineup. Then we have Gaomon introduced in X4, just the previous set. On play, both players draw the top card of their deck, so it helps you look for something you might be missing by getting you a draw, and it also fuels your opponent's hand size and triggers effects to add cards to their hand. So Gaomon is really useful there. And inheritable, your turn once per turn, when effect adds a card to your opponent's hand, gain 1 memory. That is incredible. It automatically punishes them if you bounce something with your when digivolving effects. You could, I have in times gained 4 memory off of the right stack. This is insane. You will be plussing and expending your turns like crazy. This is a mandatory 4 of. After that, we got 4 of Bulucomon. This is the promo introduced, I think it was the box topper for BT12. Security, at the end of the battle, draw 2. and then add this card to its owner's hand. This helping you draw more and making your security a bit more punishing is very useful. This is a promo. It's not too crazy though for a box topper promo. It's only like $2. However, to be fair, that does add up quick with the rest of the price of the deck. So if you do not want to run this or aren't able to get it, I would suggest running some Madoki Beta Mons or something like that here in its place instead to stop opponent's memory gain. I think that's just as good as well. But I want to run this guy to make our security more threatening, to help us draw into pieces we were missing, and just to make sure we have enough rookies. After that, we go to our champion lineup, of which we are running 9. We do have a 1 hybrid, because with all of our tamers, we do have a good opportunity for a hybrid for game, but we're only running 7, so we don't want to run too many. So we're just running 1, and it is the new best hybrid in the entire game, or at least for blue anyways. Digivolve 0 from Gaomon. You may Digivolve this card from your hand onto a blue tamer as if for a level 3 Digimon like any other hybrid, and then 1 Digivolve by placing a blue level 3 Digimon card from your hand as the bottom Digivolution card of one of your blue Digimon. This Digimon gains jamming for the turn. So that's really good to be able to aggro into security and then still be able to climb up afterwards. The jamming comes up very nice, especially since you go into your top end after that and start swinging at like your MachGaogamon level and stuff like that. So having that jamming is pretty cool. If you would like to increase this count to make sure you have the opportunity to hybrid for game, I would probably increase tamer counts a bit, maybe include 1 Nikolai, but that's about it. After that, we got Gaomon introducing BT13 here in the set. It's a new one that plays your tamers for free. Specifically, Thomas, if you don't already have one in play. And it's inheritable all turns. When your opponent has 8 or more cards in hand, the Digimon gains plus 1000 DP. Having the boost there is very nice to make sure we don't die to opposing 15,000s. So it's a really great card. But mainly we're running it to make sure we can play a tamers for free, because we have quite a few we want to get multiple copies of. So that's awesome. Then we have Gaomon introduced in X4. When Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. Great to get rid of floodgate removal. Great to have another opportunity to trigger our effects that go off when opponent has a card added to their hand. And then inheritable, it gains memory, same as the Gaomon. Again, just an absolutely amazing inheritable to make sure we gain tons of memory off of our effects and continue our turn. Very mandatory 4 of. After that, we move on to our ultimate lineup, which is all MachGaogamon. I love this dude's design. I love this New Japan Pro Wrestling inspired belt. It's so sick. So we have 7 memory to Heart Slam, 3 to Digivolve from a blue level 4, 7000 DP. This is the one introduced in BT11. When Digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, the Digimon gains blocker and plus 2000 DP for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand, so it could potentially be really big and start off lethal in some cases, but its inheritable is mainly why we're running it. All turns, once per turn, when an effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, unsuspend this Digimon. So that is a very easy condition to meet. As you saw, we have a lot of ways to trigger that, and that helps us OTK by unsuspend, swing, you know, it's amazing how aggressive it lets us be. So this card is awesome. All of them kind of share this inheritable in one way or another, so we're only running 2 because the others have better main effects. After that, we got the one introduced in BT13 in this set. When attacking, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, the target of the Digimon's attack can't be switched for the turn. So in the case of maybe all they have left to stop your lethal for the turn is a blocker and you don't have a way to remove it somehow, this could potentially be swinging for lethal there, because with 8 or more in hand, you can just ignore the blocker. And inheritable, exact same effect, which is great, so we want to make sure we have that consistency to unsuspend this one. And then we have the MachGaogamon introduced in X4. When Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 4 lower Digimon to its owner's hand. Inheritable, when attacking once per turn, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, unsuspend this Digimon. I really like this one a lot for being able to balance one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. That makes it so you could get rid of the lower level stuff on the field so that your higher end stuff could bounce the more important things. And it also has the unsuspend effect, but this one is a little bit harder to me. It is 8 or more cards in their hand. So if your opponent is playing around that and keeping a low hand size, that is kind of unfortunate for us, because then we have to really try and get their hand size back up to 8, which is why the inheritable, I would say, on these guys is better, because you just have to add an effect to their hand. That's a lot easier said than done. So it's way easier to get the unsuspend off of this one, but I like maxing out on this dude because of the ability to bounce a level 4 or lower, because there are decks in this format that will swarm you, so having the opportunity to do that and then gain memory off of our inheritables, you know, the more opportunities we have to do that, I think is really important, which is why I'm maxing this one out. But our entire bottom end has that unsuspend effect, so it's very likely to go off either way. We went over MirageGaogamon from BT11 and why this thing is probably the best one to run, because it's just so good. It chips away your opponent's security safely, and if not, it's removal, and you get to gain all your memory back on top of that. With the inheritables we saw, like, it's just insane, so mandatory 4 of. But after that, we got the BT13 MirageGaogamon introduced in the set as Evade, which lets it prevent deletion 1 time. When Digivolving, return one of your opponent's tamers to its owner's hand, and all turns once per turn, when an effect adds a card to your opponent's hand, you may play 1 Tamer in hand without paying its memory cost. Awesome, so we could swing with this dude, trigger one of our effects that force you to draw if a Gaomon attacks or something like that, and then we're able to play another Thomas out for free. And the reason we are running 4 of the Thomas that draws on play kind of plays into this MirageGaogamon. We'll get to the Thomas in a second, but the fact that you can play that and get an additional draw off of its when Digivolving, or all turns effect rather, is really useful. So I really like this guy a lot, especially since he has the opportunity to bounce one of your opponent's tamers. Like, I think in this format it's going to be pretty strong to get rid of stuff if you could get this set up early enough with all your memory gain. So I like him a lot too. After that, we have burst mode. We went over this dude. It's really important to get that final push for game, which is something this deck was missing a lot of the time. This stuff was introduced in X4. Like, this is great support. You know, the BT11 and X4 stuff, there's like good remnants of support here throughout the deck, but it just really wasn't able to close out games efficiently and consistently, and now Burst Mode kind of gives it that edge to finally do that. So it's a really great card. I don't like running too much of it because it is a level 7, and it does, if you want to go into it for free, it does have the requirements of playing another Tamer already on the field, which to be fair is not a hard requirement to meet, but it is a lot of pieces, so I don't want to brick on this thing too early. I think 2 is fine, but if you want to go up to 3, I think you can justify it by maybe cutting down on an option or on a BT13 MirageGaogamon. After that, we move on to our options. We're finally done with the Digimon. To start, we got 3 of Full Moon Meteor Impact, the option introduced from MirageGaogamon Burst Mode in the set. It is 8 memory to use, but it has return one of your opponent's Digimon to its owner's hand. Then for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand, gain 1 memory. So often this is only going to be coming out for like 6 memory, which is a lot better price for being able to just quickly remove something unconditionally as long as you don't have bounce protection. So it's a pretty strong card. Then it also has a security effect of bounce one of your opponent's Digimon to its owner's hand, which is really useful to make sure our security is more threatening, which is why we're running this at 3. And with the box toppers introducing Ace WarGreymon and MachGaogamon in this set, more decks are going to be running that, so this makes this even cheaper potentially, getting rid of that with this. So this could potentially come out for free to only 1 to 2 memory. It's a really, really great card, and I think into this format specifically, as people are really excited to try the Aces, is going to be super useful. So we're running this at 3 copies to make sure we have good removal and our security is threatening. Then we have 1 copy of Ice Wall. Between all of our memory gain and then this making their attacks lose them memory as well, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to keep a turn. This card is ridiculous and limited to 1 for a reason. It only costs 1 memory, and all of your opponent's Digimon lose 2 memory when attacking. So this will often end their turn and make it stall, so you have an extra turn to be able to draw whatever you're looking for, do whatever combo you need to. So between all of our memory gain normally and now this thing also making them lose memory on their turn, like, it's so cool. It's always going to be your turn. This is a great option. After that, we got Blue Memory Boost. This is basically in every single blue profile ever at this point since the card was introduced, so I think most of you know what it does by now, but fantastic card to increase your consistency and help you pop off later with the 2 memory gain. Finally, we're ending this profile with our Tamers. We're starting with the new one introduced here in BT13. It is 4 memory to Heart Slam, but it's a memory Tamer, which is really important to make sure we have enough memory to do our plays. Your turn, when your Digimon with Gaomon or Gaogamon in its name attacks, by suspending this Tamer, both players draw the top cards of their decks. So that's fantastic to make sure we can trigger off the effects that require your opponent to add a card to their hand. It works with the BT13 MirageGaogamon, so we could do that effect and then play out another Tamer for free, and that increases then our inheritables and all that stuff like that. So like, it's a really versatile Tamer to make sure we keep our opponent's hand size up and trigger our own effects. And being a memory Tamer alone is really great. However, even though there are ways to get this out for free, it is still a 4 memory Tamer, so in the early game you don't want to see too many of them. Therefore, I think 3 is a perfect ratio to see them at the right time. But we are running 4 of the old Thomas, only 3 memory to Heart Slam, and this is from all the way back in Booster Set 4, man, when hybrids were first introduced. On play, trigger, draw 1. Main, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in your hand, you may suspend this Tamer to suspend one of your Digimon with Gaomon in its name. And get enough of these guys out and you are able to OTK that turn. This thing is crazy for only 3 memory. It also synergizes very well with BT13 MirageGaogamon to play it out for free, or with BT13 Gaogamon to get the free draw off of their 1 Digivolving effects. So that is awesome there. And then, yeah, just tap it, unsuspend your Gaomon. Between this and Burst Mode, you are able to OTK or put on a lot of pressure early game, and it's kind of hard for your opponent to come back from it, especially with all the bouncing and stuff and like gaining memory you are doing along the way. So being only 3 makes it not even bad to Heart Slam in the early game when you're brigging and need that extra draw. So fantastic Tamer they are running at 4 to make sure we always see it. If it's in security, that's great. We get to play it for free. If we play it off of our Digimon, awesome. If we play it from hand, not the worst. It's really useful at any point in time to make sure we can aggro aggressively. So that's going to be the profile. MirageGaogamon is really sick. It's a fun deck that has control aspects, but is mainly an aggro deck trying to gun down your opponents with all your memory gain and increasing their hand size and punishing their hand size. It's awesome. I like it a lot, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. If you're a fan of Gaogamon or Gaomon line, you're going to be very happy with BT13. It's been a lot of fun in testing this. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you're running differently in your list. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.